Project acceptance.
Hey, welcome to the Tech Capital of the World, Kernersville, North Carolina. I'm coming to you from a location undisclosed in Kernersville. Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. New set or something. Or
New set, like
your actual desk. Everyone, this is what his actual desk. This is what it actually does work.
Yeah.
Anybody that's joined us before on one of our open house types events has probably seen this before, but the rest of you probably haven't. This is where you actually work.
It's just, this is, so we have a couple of YouTube sets and they are filled right now. So we are recording for our self-paced course and I've got the guys in there recording and they've taken over for the week. So because our course is coming soon. Yeah, I've been kicked out.
Exactly. Yeah. A couple things before we get started. Firstly, let's say hey to some people first. Why not?
Yeah.
And then we'll get to our little things we need to talk about here. So let's see here. WizG says hello world. I like that. Very.
Hey, what's up?
Very fitting. MSV's here. Hey MSV. MSV bought the course too, so that's very cool. I'm super glad you were able to get in.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, looking forward to that. That should be good. Andreas is here. Hey Andreas.
Hey Andreas.
Yardley is here from Port-au-Prince, Haiti. But it's nice.
Nice.
It's pretty nice here today, but I bet you it's nicer there.
Yeah.
Alantio's here. Good morning. Okay. Radamantis, you will notice he has a little different looking icon by his name if you see him in YouTube chat. That's because he is a moderator. So you're going to see a couple of new moderators here. But the Radamantis
He's one of our moderators, okay.
Yep. And Ben Patton will both be moderating chat. So
you've given the power of the hammer band.
They have the power of the of whatever they want to do.
Deemed worthy.
Exactly. To use common sense. I mean, I don't know. Just you know.
Right.
Let's see. William's here. What happened to my chat thing here? I broke it.
Cool.
Oh no, there we go. Let's see. Some popcorn. Antoine, thanks for the popcorn. Steven's here. Anaya's here. Walter's back. Let's see. Oh, I got second page of chat already. Wow, you guys are quick with this stuff. Taz is back. Let me see. Amin's back from Algeria. Hey, Amin. Good to see you again. Esther is here. Matthew's here. We got a lot of people here today. This is good.
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. And Abraham's in Somalia. That's cool. We've from all over the world today. Mona's here from India. Lots and lots and lots of people here. Jabrin from Nigeria. Cool.
Okay, all over the world.
All over the world. We're going global today. So, a couple of things to talk about before we do Q&A. We will do Q&A today as normal.
Yeah.
You can throw questions in chat. I'll queue them up. Before we get to that, the course initial pricing ended today. Now, what I did originally was I originally ended it at midnight, and I'm like, am I going to stay up till midnight to refix this thing to switch it on? I'm like, no, I'm extending it till tomorrow. So I extended it into today, but we've now changed the pricing. So the pricing going forward between now and launch will be $229. So it's still a great deal. We promised we would only leave the $129 up for a limited amount of time for you guys to get it who are here all the time, and that's exactly what we did. So now we want, we didn't want to not leave it on, leave it for sale. But we also didn't want to put it up to $99 a month before it's even out.
Yeah.
So we had to pick somewhere in between. So that's what we did.
Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be $99 at launch. So if you haven't bought it yet, $229 is still a good deal. Yep. So if you're doing the math, $99 is $1,200 per year. So we're selling it at a sizable discount, $1,000 off.
Yeah, it's like $960 off, still less than $20 a month.
Right.
So pretty good, I think.
But even at $99 compared to our boot camp is a good deal in general. So people that have seen kind of what we do and how we build it are like amazed that we're going to even offer it at 99. So like, I think you'll be really impressed with what you get when you get it, regardless of what price point you buy it at.
We hope so. And even if you're not, the great thing is you can just get your money back. We're not here to like, we want to give you guys good service. We're not here to rip people off. That's not our thing. We're not a money grab. We want to deliver a good service at the end of the day. Okay. Somebody wants to know what we had for breakfast. You have breakfast today? Did you breakfast?
Yeah, I did.
What'd you have?
4 boiled eggs.
Wow. Okay, you went full on like weightlifter protein. Like.
Yeah, that's what I had this morning. 4 boiled eggs.
I had an English classic. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's all I've eaten too so far. I had an English classic toast.
Toast. Okay.
Toast is a classic English breakfast.
Do you put anything on your toast or?
Butter. That was it. Just a little bit.
Butter. Okay. No.
Nothing else. It's a classic English.
Vegemite or whatever that is. I guess that's Australian.
Oh no! I don't like to do that stuff. No. Marmite, whatever.
Marmite. I mean, I had a friend in college whose dad was English, and I remember I came to their house the first time, and they had coffee and biscuits and crackers. I guess I call it crackers. I forget what the norm, and part of it was Marmite.
Yeah.
And he put some on there and handed it to me. And I remember, like, in the South, you don't want to be rude. You just have to get it down,
Right.
So,
right.
Right.
But that wouldn't have been a pleasant experience.
No, just like, you like it? I'm like, it's good. That's awesome.
If you have had anything else like it though, ever, it's like it's so unique. It has such a unique taste. I don't think there's anything else like it. You can't say, oh, it tastes like this, because it doesn't.
I've heard that if you go to McDonald's, you can get Marmite on your French fries. I don't know if that's true, and I've never been to England, so.
I don't know about in the UK. Maybe in Australia. I don't know. In
Australia, maybe that's where it's at. Australia,
maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't think they serve Marmite at McDonald's in the UK. I don't think they do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyway, so the big news around here in North Carolina is Apple's putting a headquarters here in Raleigh. I mean, we think it's a mistake.
Check this out. Look,
they could have built this in the tech capital of the world, Kernersville.
I think they genuinely made a mistake here. I think they got a memo and somebody made an error. They just saw North Carolina and they're like, oh, it must be Raleigh. And we're like, no, you Kernersville, man. What's going on here? Tech capital of the world. I think they're onto us.
So, but it's 20,000 jobs. We're North Carolina super excited about it. If you're living in Raleigh, I saw some complaints on Twitter this morning that rent's about to go up. Because all these people are going to move in.
Well, it was actually only 3,000 jobs in Raleigh. So it was 3,000 new jobs, but they are high-paying jobs. They were averaging like 170-something thousand across those 3,000 jobs. And they're in like AI and software engineering realm, and machine learning. So it's interesting. I wonder what they're doing, what they're going to put there.
They're building the eyeglass, Kevin. That's what they're doing.
You think in Raleigh? Wouldn't that be amazing? We need to find somebody. If anybody knows anybody that's going to work there and we get an inside little scoop there, we can go visit. That would be sweet.
Second, they may also be working on the car as well in there. So the eyeglass in the car is probably what they're doing in
it's probably not. It's probably something boring like Siri 2.0, which we need. Come on, it's terrible. I'm surprised. See, it didn't even pick it up on my phone now, even though I said its name.
I know.
Like, it doesn't. Right. She's not very good.
Yeah,
Siri's not the best AI.
But we're excited about that, and so that's about an hour and 10 minutes from here. So North Carolina. The 3 major cities is Charlotte, Raleigh, and we were in Kernersville, which is the middle of the triad. So between Winston, Greensboro, and High Point. So the 3 big locations were in one of the 3. So should be good. Should be good for everybody. So we're excited.
Yeah,
congratulations,
definitely.
North Carolina. That's a good job.
It is. Yeah. It's very, very interesting. So really close to us. That was the big
surprised though that they're building a headquarters here. I thought that office space would go more remote. I was wondering what you thought about that. I'm shocked that that's what they're doing. But apparently, they have plans. There must be something they're constructing.
And I think that's
why
what
I say it's eyeglass or the car or something like that.
I agree. I agree definitely. Yeah, somewhere where you have to be in one place, and you know how strict they are. Well. based on reason. They're kind of strict on stuff being in one place based on history. They had that. Remember the phone in the bar leak? Remember that one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Somebody took a phone out in Cupertino and like left it in a bar, and it was an iPhone.
Right.
And like that's how that like model leaked. So that was a big deal. So I'm guessing they're very strict on that these days. And they, it's not like you can't take engineering a piece of hardware home, right? It's not something you can do remotely. Like you know. You have to be there. So that's probably true. Although they have facilities in Austin, I do know that. They have at least 2 buildings there that are customer support. So I don't know if they're back in the office or not. I have no idea, but I know they have big facilities there.
It's kind of cool, man. So we're excited about it. So welcome Apple to the great state of North Carolina. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and if you ever Apple want to visit the tech capital of the world, Kernersville, North Carolina, just let us know.
Yeah,
we'll take you out for some barbecue and donuts or something.
Right. Barbecue and donuts.
Here you go. Look, Chap makes a good point. The epic few boy with the epic.
I didn't even think about that. That's a deep cut there. So if you don't know, Epic is in Raleigh as well. So now they can just throw rocks at each other.
They can have an organized fight now at that Red Hat amphitheater downtown. It's like right there.
Right. Yeah, 1-on-1 Fortnite or something. Or maybe that's what they'll do to settle it.
That's funny. Maybe
you and me 1-on-1 Fortnite for all the marbles. So I don't know who the CEO of Epic is, but it's Tim Cook versus whoever the CEO is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is these days.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of funny.
If you have questions, throw them in chat. I will queue them up, and as usual, we'll get to as many as we can. If you want to guarantee that we answer your question, super chat it. Guarantee whatever question we're on, we'll do that one next. You can do it for as little as $1. Otherwise, I would just go down the list.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And
let's just forget Apple. Let's talk .NET and C#.
Hey, so big .NET news. So like .NET 6 is coming, and Visual Studio is going to be in preview in the next month as 64-bit Visual Studio. We're excited about that. .NET 6 is going to be a game changer for the desktop side and for Maui. So Maui is going to be this great thing that allows us to build native Mac OS apps, native Windows apps, native iOS, native Android. And believe it or not, for the very first time, this cross-platform thing will be native Windows. Before, we had to use the Windows-specific libraries inside of .NET to build a Windows app. And so we had to use C# or use something called WinForms or WPF. Now, all that's going to be under the .NET MAUI so that we can target Windows, we can target Mac OS, we can target Android. And included in on top of that is also Blazor can also target the desktop. So like there's a lot of cool stuff coming at the end of this year with .NET.
You think they stick with the name? You think we're seeing MAUI, or you think it's going to be...
So we were laughing about that. Like we think that MAUI, which stands for Multiple Application UI, was that someone was vacationing in Maui, and they said, "How can I make this fit?" And they probably took 3 months to figure out what to call the acronym. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to use. I don't know what they're initially going to call it. I imagine it will be Maui when it comes out, and Xamarin will get renamed at the end of the year.
Yeah, and then, it just feels like an internal naming convention, though, doesn't it? Yeah, it feels like one of those. It's like the Project X for the X, the Project Scorpio for the Xbox,
right?
Same kind of thing. It's like it's never going to be called that, but it's kind of like this. They need to call it something.
And so the other thing in .NET, like the other thing is Visual Studio 16.9.4 came out, and if you've been building Visual Studio apps and you're doing things like that, there's 2 ways to build it: MVC and something that was called Razor Pages. Suddenly now, Razor Pages is now aptly named that it talks about the view. Whereas Razor Pages used to talk about their MVVM approach, and now it's just called Web Apps. And they just didn't even announce it; they just changed Visual Studio. So like, the guys that name stuff, or the people that name things in Microsoft, like, I don't know what the problem is.
They have enough money; they should just have somebody on staff that is responsible for naming stuff. Exactly.
He's the naming czar.
Pay this person $100,000. They sit down, like when they have a new product, you give it to them, be like, name it.
Name it.
Because I think right now an engineer does it and they're terrible at it. Exactly.
Yeah. We're going to call it Razor Pages. Don't we already have something called Razor Views? Like,
doesn't
matter. They'll get it. They'll understand.
Exactly.
One's a view, one's a page. They're different.
Yeah. They're like, oh, no, that's a different department. Exactly. That's a different department. Exactly. That's not us.
Yeah. So, so we're really excited about .NET 6. You will see us talking more about Blazor under 64-bit Visual Studio in the summer once we have a good build that we can actually build something on.
So when you say 64-bit too, what does that actually, do you know what that gives you over the 32-bit one? Is it just speed? Okay.
Speed. So like before, and also just being able to work. So large solutions that have multiple projects in it. I've worked on things like at a bank or whatever, where you may have 100 projects inside of a Visual Studio solution, and it can literally take 25 minutes just to open it up. So now that's going to be fast.
Cool.
All right, cool.
Super Plays has a
Super Plays. Thank you for the chat. We appreciate it. All right, cool.
You got the cool Stormtrooper. Let's see.
All right, cool.
Quick question: how would you go about learning coding with little to no income? What are the first steps? Thank you for answering my question.
So I think Super Plays, depending on where you live. So let's say I would study web development. So that's what I would do, depending on where you live. If you live somewhere else, and maybe that's desktop or embedded, depending on if you live in Southeast Asia, maybe that's more important there. You also could say that data science is the thing that you want to do. So what we say to everybody that's just starting out, they don't know anything, is pick what you want to build first. Then we can talk about what do we need to learn how to do that. So it's seriously, you got 4 things. You got desktop, you kind of got embedded or AI, and then you have web, and then you also have mobile. So that's 5. I said 4, that's 5. And so pick one of those. I think, especially in the US right now, web development is the most opportune thing that you can learn. It's the thing with the most jobs. It's the most where you can really break in quickly. The other ones have less opportunities. Doesn't mean they're small by any stretch, but you pick up web development, and then from there, how do you do it with no income? Well, there are some free things out there. Free Code Camp is a way for you to do it. The difference between Free Code Camp and, say, our self-paced course that's coming out is Free Code Camp, you got to kind of figure out your own learning track and the things that you want to know. We're going to self-guide you. So for you say little to no income, $229 for a year to learn how to be a web dev is still a pretty good deal. But if you need it to be free, the Free Code Camp, if it's available in the country that you have, and I think it has, and I think they're going for translations. They're doing a lot of things where they can make it accessible around the world. Yep. And that way you can learn about web development, take one of their pre-designed tracks, good, bad, or indifferent. And then once you get to that point, you can come to us and say, okay, I sort of know what I want to do now. And now the stuff at Coder Founder may make more sense for you, where you're ready to invest some of the income that you have into getting that first job. So
I would also suggest, if you know nothing, to look at and you have a mobile device, a phone or whatever. There's a couple of apps you can look at. Solo Learn is one.
Right.
Super little bite-sized chunks. If you know nothing, it's a great place to sort of pick up the very, very basic stuff. And Google's Grasshopper. Very, very simple apps. They teach you the very, very basic things. They teach you, so Grasshopper uses JavaScript, and it teaches you like loops and those kind of things, and structures and that kind of stuff. Teach you about arrays and some of the basic stuff. And those are both free apps. You don't need to pay for them.
Yeah, and those are free apps, but just think that I just want you to understand, none of that's going to lead to like a job necessarily.
Right.
So but it's going to teach you how to code to some degree, and then I think you should pursue web development, which then you've got to learn JavaScript, HTML, and CSS at the very beginning. And then I think you need to know SQL database, and then some kind of server-side language like C#. It could be Java, but it's going to be, I think C# would be the predominant server-side language that you need to learn.
So, we will always tell you have to build some things.
Yeah, you have to build a project.
You've got to build
but that's
stuff.
Later on down the road. It sounds like you haven't even started yet. So you can go to Free Code Camp, Solo Learn, Grasshopper, those kind of things that are free. Get your feet wet, and then take a targeted boot camp like ours or someone else's that teach you web development or mobile or data science or desktop. depending on what you want to do.
Here's the other thing you're doing too during that early phase as well. You're actually figuring out if you even like doing it.
Yeah,
Some people don't even like doing it.
it.
If you find those things terrible and just like torture to do, then it's not a good move for you, period. You have to like doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right.
Cool.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you for the super chat.
We hope that helped. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. This is an open-ended question. I'm going to throw this one up here. What's the most interesting thing in coding? No more.
To me, the most satisfying thing, I don't know about the most interesting thing, is building something and then seeing it work. I think that is the thing that drives most of us. So even if it's a small thing, you change the page and then suddenly it appears, that's fantastic. One of the things about coding that I think is the most rewarding is, and I write this in the book, Breaking into Code. So imagine if you're Taylor Swift and you walk into your local Starbucks and like 5 people are listening to your music. That's kind of cool, right? You made something, people are enjoying it. But imagine if you're the primary engineer on, say, something like Twitter, and you walk into Starbucks and everybody's using your app. And I think that's one of the things that's interesting, that you can build things that a lot of people consume and use, and they use your code in their daily life. And that's it's really hard to get to that level in entertainment and, say, other areas, but in coding, it's easier to do. A lot of people work at Google, a lot of people work at Twitter, a lot of people work at Facebook, Microsoft, and these companies. And then a lot of them work for product companies, and it's kind of cool. So I built a piece of fraud software, and I went to the bank, they checked checks. And I remember that I went in the bank and I saw them bring up the product that I wrote. And I was like a little kid. I wanted to point out and say, I wrote that, but like no one would believe you. But like it was that sense of satisfaction that you built something that people use. It's kind of cool.
Definitely. Imagine if it is something like you say, like Twitter, where it's like has just massive widespread adoption. It's like, it's kind of cool. Maybe you didn't create the whole thing. Maybe you just had like one little like piece of that. You just, you did something with the images or something, whatever it is. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's my work right there. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, so for a long time, I worked on corporate web banking, and for a large bank. And that was kind of cool. Like, if someone was using their web banking for corporates, whether it be Walmart or whoever, and they were using your interface. I worked for a benefits company, and we did enrollment for health insurance and stuff like that. And that was cool. All the Fortune 100 were using that for a while. And it's just kind of neat to work on things that other people use. So I think that's the most interesting or rewarding thing about coding, Omar. Hope that helps.
I like that. Cool. Let me see. Dalibor says, do you have some tips how aspiring backend developer, or what a aspiring backend developer should look like? What your portfolio should look like? Or to show one? No full stack. Okay, interesting.
I think that's what I would call a straw man argument. I'm going to give you some advice here, and you may not like it. If you're building a portfolio, that implies that you have to have a front end to it.
Right.
So you need to have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript skills to build a portfolio. So I think that even though you're going after full stack jobs or just back-end jobs, you would just want to write like back-end web APIs with C#, something like that, then you need to show how those would be consumed on the front end for it to make sense to people. So I don't think that having a portfolio of back-end code with just Git is good enough, I think, for an aspiring .NET developer. You said aspiring, so you're trying to break into the industry. I think you need to do some full stack things in order to show what you can do. And then you just pursue the roles that you want to pursue, but you're just going to have to like do that. So how can we do that easily when I don't want to be a designer? I don't want to mess around with JavaScript, CSS. Build your portfolio with a template, and then build some back-end things that are REST service-based, and then show how those could be consumed on the front end using JavaScript. And you can use Fetch, or you could build a full stack MVC app or something like that. So like you got to show what the thing does for you to pursue those back-end jobs, even though you're not pursuing the front end necessarily.
Yep. I think it's important to understand that it's okay to use templates. I think a lot of people, it's kind of weird. We see that like backlash all the time from us, don't we? Yeah. We're like,
you should build your own HTML framework to build a portfolio. We're using Bootstrap, you're cheating. You should build your own. Like, really?
Right. No.
I
You
don't
should
think
use
so.
the tools that are available. And
Yeah,
we do
man.
get that all the time. We're like, no, I want to write my own compiler. Like, okay,
Yeah. Really?
why?
Okay. What I don't like is people complain to me sometimes like, why are you using Bootstrap? You should do your own HTML, CSS. And I'm like, do you use React? Yes. Why are you doing that? Make your own templating engine.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly. You can
where
take
does
that
it stop?
argument for days. Exactly. Where does it
Yeah,
stop?
exactly.
Exactly.
Right.
What do you mean you didn't solder your own computer together? Like, you didn't make your own video card? Like, I mean, come on. Like,
I mean,
how
you're
far
really
you
not
take this thing?
manufacturing chips in your basement. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I mean, you know,
Right.
46
Right.
instruction set. Oh yeah, I'm doing that all day long.
Yes, you use the best tools that are available.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that simple.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. All right, hope that helps. And
just to follow up to this too, he just says, "Understood. Thank you. We'll have to learn JS at some point." So yeah,
100%.
because that's how
Yes.
the whole thing links together, right? That's like the go-between
thing. Yeah, especially if your back end is in Node, you're gonna have to learn JavaScript. But I think that C# is the way to start for that, and then just learn how to build your front ends with whatever you want. That being Vanilla.js, React, or Angular, or fire up a .NET MVC app. That's kind of easy to do if you start looking at. So
even I could do it.
Yeah,
to get one started.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Okay, MSV, good to see you back again. Says, tips to get the most out of the course when it starts.
I think that when it starts is make a definitive learning time. So carve out time in your week that you're going to spend a significant amount of time at that time. And it's like, it could be Saturday morning from 8 to noon or something like that. And then you make that an appointment and you sit down and you do your work then. I think that's how you get most out of the course when it starts. You know, also too, if you're just starting out, follow our path. Don't try to jump ahead and do all those other things and thinking that you can short circuit what we're doing. Our learning path has a definitive method to what we're doing. So like you may see things later in the course that reference earlier things. So, and it may be confusing if you don't follow it through to completion. Now, if you're just coming this and you're like, man, I already know JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, that's fantastic. You can start with C# if you want to. I would just start with the intro part and not try to go straight to the bug tracker. Yep. You know, and try to like circumvent the whole process. Just put your time in, start from beginning to end, and then just make a definitive time to code and learn. It could be every day or it could be one day a week.
And just like with the bootcamp too, I would suggest the more you're already familiar with HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript, the easier it's going to be to get going.
Yeah.
Just like it is with the bootcamp, when you're seeing it not for the first time, it's much easier seeing it for the second time.
Yeah, exactly.
This is funny. Just the thing I may have to make my own GPU if I want a new one. This is true. And I saw a thing about this the other day where they're saying, this is not getting any better, by the way. We're going to see these GPU shortages through 2022. Can you believe that? We're going to see it through the rest of the year and into next year, and these guys cannot make these things fast enough. And if you try and buy one, it's ridiculous. We're talking about crazy. Like, would you spend $3,000 or $4,000 on a graphics card?
No, and people are telling me it's because people are mining Bitcoin. I don't believe it's Bitcoin mining. I don't believe that. I mean, like maybe I'm just underestimating the entire industry, but I just don't believe it. It's something else with some kind of raw material that they can't get. I think is more likely.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, and it is. I think it's a combination of both. It's a combination
high demand,
of a bunch of different things.
And then
Yep. Okay.
All right, cool.
By the way, just so you know, I see you guys, somebody spamming a question in the chat. Spamming a question will guarantee that we're not going to answer it.
And the hammer band may come down. So we got someone with the power of Thor in there.
Just don't spam in the chat, please. That would be great. I would very much appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Go to the next one here. Lucas says, do you have any tips for front-end developers' portfolio? Like how complex they should be, and should we adapt our projects to the positions we are looking after, or can we, or I guess have a general appeal?
Yeah, I think we recommend projects that we're going to build in our project because they have a general appeal. So like that's why we say build a bug tracker. Every dev manager has a bug tracker, and it's easy to relate that to what they're doing. I don't think you need to build, say, if you're interviewing at banks, build some kind of loan portfolio project. But having said that, if you build one, that's okay. You can show it to everyone. Everyone does loans. So I would pick business projects that solve a business problem in a general domain, like bug tracker, maybe a mortgage app, those kind of things. That's why we don't recommend tic-tac-toe and to-do list, because they don't really navigate themselves to business projects. So like they should be kind of complex, I think, and they solve complex problems. So, and if you're doing purely front end, hey man, you've got to show those design skills as well as
your design has got to be on point. If you're just doing front end, your color palette's got to be right. Your use of space has got to be right. Your typography's got to be right, and you've got to be able to justify every single decision you've made. Because when you go to an interview, they're going to say, "Why did you choose that shade of green there?" And you have to be able to answer that question.
Yeah. The other thing that I see from front end people's portfolios is they're not finished. So like they'll make a thing about a gym and it doesn't really flow all the way through. So that means there's a lot of lorem ipsum, a lot of placeholder text. And I really believe that sometimes you can get what we call the soft no, is you submit your portfolio with your resume to get an interview and you don't get one. And that's because your portfolio is incomplete. So if you build like hey, I'm going to build a gym site or a restaurant site, make sure you follow it all the way to completion. What's on a gym site? What's on a restaurant site? Fill all of those pages out, and then add some interactivity, maybe registration page or some kind of like that kind of works with JavaScript, and you can mock those parts up. But I think that's what it needs to do. So,
okay, we're gonna go a little bit out of order here, but we're gonna see if we can help. And I don't know if this is KMN or Kimmen, and if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, I do apologize. But he's been a developer professionally for 3 years, but is out of employment at the moment. How do I get a job quick? What's your best advice?
So like right now, you need to make sure you have a great portfolio that you can push. I don't know where you're located. So in the US, we typically work with recruiters here. I'm sure there's something like that in your town, your country, or wherever you're at. And maybe if you're on the US side, hey, find a recruiter, make sure you're contacting people through LinkedIn and try to connect with people that could employ you, and then find the job openings through something like Indeed and apply directly, but also communicate directly to those companies. So
yeah, I think LinkedIn for sure. You need to trade on your 3 years of experience at this point. You have 3 years above everybody else trying to break in. Yeah. You've already been able to prove that you can do this. So you just need to be able to trade on that. So your resume is also important in your case. Exactly. And you can showcase that through LinkedIn. If you don't have a portfolio, work on that too.
Start working on it now. You're unemployed right now. So the best thing you can do to gain employment is work on your ability to sell yourself. And that could be around your portfolio and your reach out game, your follow-up game on all job postings. Cool. All right.
Okay. Go to my next one. Okay, so Abraham says, "Hey guys, I bought the course yesterday. I have a question about the bug tracker project. Is it for only software projects? Is it generic issue tracker and any project like Redmine and Jira?" Okay, good question. So what is the bug tracker?
Like ours has a concept of a ticket in it. And that ticket can be for any kind of project. The projects aren't tied necessarily to software. And so anytime you get a request in for whatever, you attach that to a project, and that's called a ticket inside of that. And then that ticket is worked from open to close. It tracks kind of like comments, attachments, anything you can do. And it's, while we're thinking of it in terms of software projects, it could be something else. For sure, it works. All right.
I just
hope that helps.
This is something funny. So Jens wants to get two for one deal on glasses. So here's how the glasses worked. Okay. So
that's funny that we have the same glasses.
It is. It is. Well, it is because not intentionally.
Yeah.
So we got them from the same place, and you can get. There's a link down below. You can buy these. I have non-prescription glasses. You have prescription glasses. We chose them independently of each other and both chose the same glasses, just so you know.
Right. Yeah. So they have allowed us to have an affiliate, and so we make a little money if you buy glasses from them. but these
Bootcamp.
have blue blocking in it. So like it's great for eye strain, and they work really well. And so I wear these every day, just not on YouTube. I wear them every day. So these are my daily drivers. They work well.
I wear mine on and off when I'm at the computer. Sometimes I wear them, sometimes I don't. Depends on how my eyes are doing that day. But mine are just non-prescription blue blocking. They're cool. You can get, I think it's 10% off, right? 10 or 15% off.
There's 10% off.
There's a coupon down below.
Cool.
Yeah, you can get it in the description. But it's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. What now's question? How much do I need to learn to get started in freelancing in Python, data science, ML, and AI?
I think you need to know quite a bit. So like you need to know kind of what the projects are that people are trying to do, and then build those projects on your own and show them on a portfolio. So
you've got to be able to fulfill somebody's requirement, haven't you? They're going to give you a project, and you have to be able to deliver that project. So do you know enough knowledge to be able to do that?
Right. And so if you don't know anything about data science, you're just trying to break into that arena, then you need to start learning kind of like Python, machine learning, maybe AI. And then inside that, it's a broad term. Figure out what you want to do inside of those areas and build that, and then show that. You could also talk to recruiters and see kind of what are they looking for. You could look at job postings in the data science area and see the types of things that they're building. And then you could also call a company and say, hey, I'm just learning, like, what are the types of things that you're using data science for? So you can get a better understanding of what's involved in the industry, and then go on your learning journey and build a project like that. And that person you called, show it to them. So it should be kind of cool. You could ask on Twitter as well for people that are working in the area and say, what kind of things are you working on? What problems are you solving with machine learning or AI and data science? And then start looking into those kind of problem sets and build something like it. Hope that helps. What now? All right, cool.
No, what now?
What now? Next. So if you want to get in, just super chat us. We've got a bunch of questions in there, and it's we got 20 minutes, so we still got a few for more. All right, cool.
Yes, we do. I just got rid of that question like a moron. We go to the next one. Let me see here. So MD Nabil says, is it advisable to switch from automation filed PLC and SCADA with 5 years experience to web dev? Can I get the same package?
I'm assuming, can he get paid the same?
I'm assuming that's what that means. Yeah.
So like, I don't know. So like, if you like PLC or you don't like it, that's okay. But you got 5-year experience in it. And so I think it is. I mean, I think there's probably more web development jobs out there than there are for PLC, but it depends on where you live. So PLCs, if you don't know what that is programmable logic controller. And so like those things, Kevin, are used in like industries like manufacturing. You may have a belt that's moving stuff along, and it's maybe scanning a QR code or automatically weighing things or things like that. So like there's development that makes those things work. So with that 5-year experience, maybe you're already making a lot of money, but you're tired of doing it. So you switch to web development because you want to do something different, and that's okay. And so you should be able to, if you can flip that into a web development job, you should be able to make the same what you're making now. You just got to show that you can do the web side. So make a portfolio with some web projects on it, do some learning, and then figure out how you market yourself as a web developer now. So kind of cool.
Okay, Amin says, as a mid-level software engineer, I'm facing burnouts very frequently. What would your advice in this situation? We do get this question quite a bit, don't we?
Yeah, so like I don't know. So maybe it's the company or maybe it's the project. You got to ask yourself why you burn out on it. So unfortunately, this is what we do for a living. We write code.
And it is more of a personal thing, isn't it? It's
just, exactly.
You got to get to the root cause.
Maybe it's the project, maybe it's the company, maybe it's the technology. So I don't know. And this sounds bad. I don't know if I've ever really been burned out on this. And I'm like, in my,
I guess that's not bad. I guess you're just lucky because a lot of people do, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like with with any job, it's the same thing.
And so you can take breaks, make sure that if on the weekends when you're not working, you take breaks, jog, run, do whatever you want to do that relaxes your brain, and then you come back refreshed on Monday. So if you're working 7 days a week in it, maybe that's part of it. So frequent breaks is kind of works well for all of us.
Yep, definitely. Okay. Let's see. Jasurbeck, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I apologize if I didn't. But has a question, says, hi there, how are you? I think we're doing great. I wanted to ask whether T-SQL is useful to learn or not, if I want to go the way of AI and robotics.
100%. I think you're going to use a database no matter what you're doing. I would imagine that if you're in robotics, that they still have a database of some sort that they're doing things, and maybe that thing has to access that from the database. AI is the same way. So there may be things where these things are integrated. Maybe your data sets in SQL, or there could be lots of things. Not everything's in a text file, so a lot of things are in database. So I think SQL is useful to learn no matter what realm of development you're going into. I think you should learn how to write SQL statements. The cool thing is it's not the largest thing ever. So like SQL is a very compact language. So it's not saying there's not nothing to know, but it's not as deep and broad as some other things. So you can definitely get proficient in SQL pretty quickly, and enough to be able to use it on the job.
There you go. So Sean has a question about the course. What order is the content going to be presented in the self-paced course?
Okay, Sean. So like the first thing you're going to do is learn about the basics of HTML. We'll probably talk about the elements in an HTML page, input, text area, form, and then from there we'll go on to Bootstrap and how we style these elements so they look good. And from Bootstrap we'll build different templates. And then we'll talk about that in a quick. Sorry, it's very important. My workout schedule. So, and then once you're building templates, then we take some of those templates and then we start working our portfolio. And so like our whole course is built around you building a rock star portfolio that you can present to an employer. So like then once you know enough about Bootstrap and HTML and CSS, we start constructing the portfolio. And then we guide you like, here's the sections that need to be on the portfolio. And then after we build that thing, then we start looking at our mini site section, and that's primarily JavaScript. And we start walking through the basics of JavaScript, and then we build 5 projects that we can stick onto our portfolio. And then we move on to C#. And then from there, we're building, we teach you about C#, and then we build 3 projects in C#, which is our bug tracker. We're going to build a blog, and we're going to build something called Movie Pro. And then at the end of that, you end up with a portfolio with 5 or 6 JavaScript projects, 3 full stack C# projects, all built around HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. And that's the order. So it's kind of complete as far as like, and then you just take that to market. You take that as your sales tool to get a job with. And then we train you on how to interview, how to answer interview questions. We take the top 30 C# interview questions, we answer them, and we show you how to take that answer and relate it to the projects that you've built. So you do all those things, put it all together, you get a job.
While we're talking about this, a couple of follow-up questions from people too, just quick ones. So the course cover deep basic C# to apply it to cross-platform development.
Yeah, so the reason we're not doing Xamarin in the first release is because we know it's in a state of change. Like we know that that's going to change this year. And so when .NET MAUI releases, we will talk about cross-platform development. And when we talk about cross-platform, we're talking about Android, iOS, and desktop. Cross-platform in the ASP.NET world means my web application run on different web servers. So it's already going to do that. We're pushing those to Heroku. You also can take the same app and push it to AWS or Azure, Linux, or Windows. It doesn't really matter. But what I think he was talking about is like, how do I build an Android app, iOS app, a Windows app, a Mac OS desktop app? We'll cover that later in the year. So
it is on our roadmap. So if you are subscribed at the time that we release that, you will get that as part of the course.
It'll be part of the course. So.
Yep. And then also one more kind of thing in the same realm too. The last question about this, APIs. The self-paced tools.
We tackle it from two perspectives. So like APIs, we're going to teach you how to write them. So that's web API. So web API, we will write a web API on the blog project and then show you how to consume that in your portfolio. So your portfolio would show you the last 5 blog articles on your portfolio site. The second thing that we do inside of Movie Pro is consume a third-party API and show you how to do that from within C# so that you can consume an API, a data set or whatever, and this will be a list of movies, actors and cast and crew, things like that. So we do it from 2 ways. So I hope that helps.
Okay, cool. Back to Quix's question. Workout routine. What are you currently on?
So currently right now I don't know why you're asking me this, Quix. I'm not like a workout genius. So but I do have a personal trainer that I'm using. I'm trying to lose weight, trying to get in better shape. And so right now I work out 3 days a week, and this is my workout right now currently. So when I go into the gym, I do primarily 4 exercises, and they do rotate through, but I'll just tell you what I did yesterday. So I go in and I do 4 rounds of, I do 25 push-ups, 25 weight-assisted squats, 25 lateral pulls, and then I carry heavy weights up and down the gym 4 times. So that ends up when I'm done on a Monday. Yeah, I do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 lat pulls, and then I've done what we called heavy carries. So maybe a 50 or 60-pound dumbbell, and I walk across the gym and come back, and I carry that in different routines. It may be like by your side, over your head, and in a curl position. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And I do it in 30 minutes, which the other thing is like time to do it is the other part. So I'm working on stamina, strength, and everything at the same time. So I can do 100 push-ups, Kevin. So
that's awesome.
But I have to sleep after I do them, though.
But you need immediately sleep afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's great. I like it. Let me see. What's the next question here?
I'm on that one single punch man or whatever it is routine. Yeah. So one punch guy, whatever that's called, that thing. Yeah.
Neil says, speaking of web developer, should I start working in front end and learn back end side by side, or should I learn back end and apply as a full stack?
I think full stack's the way to go. So I think you need to know both front end and back end and how you do both of them. And then you may get on a job where you're primarily working in the back end. But even today, I don't know if the separation is as distinct as people think it is. And so when they say, I only know front end, it's becoming increasingly more difficult to find jobs just doing that. So there's large teams, large companies that separate them that way. But to be the most versatile, the most opportunities to be a full stack dev, that you can work on JavaScript in the front end using whatever templating framework they're using, and then you can communicate to the back end, hopefully in C# or Java or something like that, or Node.js. And I think it's better to learn full stack right from the get-go. So you more opportunities.
Okay, here's a different question. So some guy wants to know any advice on how to get confident on social media, particularly LinkedIn. I'm very terrified.
Okay. So don't be terrified. And then just start working on LinkedIn and start commenting on things that you have a particular interest in. I would say always be positive. I think try to always be nice to people on social and not necessarily negative. And so I think negative speak hurts your career in the long run.
Right.
I think it leads to more soft nose if you're particularly negative on social media. Some people get away with it, and that's okay. But I think if you're just starting out, if you think you're going to get blasted for any kind of thing that you post out there, I very rarely get blasted on LinkedIn. Sometimes I have, but I try to stay in the positive realm, and I think that's why.
Yep.
You know, and sometimes I'll have a hard take, but my hard take's usually around use C# versus other things.
Right. Which again, people will blast you over, but you know.
Yeah, I'm not telling you how to vote or what to do or anything like that. I'm just trying to tell you, like, hey, man, use some C#.
Yeah.
I think that's my most controversial thing. That,
the most controversial thing you normally mention on any kind of social media is the fact that you put a stake in choosing a stack, and people are like, you can learn whatever you want. Like, technically, yes, we've talked about this a million times. You can technically learn to code using anything, but here's why. But you got to learn something. So which one do you?
Yeah, and I think that in general, just to delve into it with this real quick, because I'm so passionate about it, is stacks are used for specific things. And once you say, I want to build mobile, then you've got to pick a stack that builds mobile. And so like you can sit there and say, I want to learn Python and build mobile sites with Python. It's like, well, you're not going to get a job doing that. You're just not. I mean, like, and then you can say, well, I want to learn PHP because it's easy. Okay, well, you're probably going to be doing something in the WordPress realm. Doesn't mean that other things aren't used, but if that's one you're going to pick and you're saying, I want to build full stack web, yeah, we can use the Django, but C# and ASP.NET gives you more opportunities. So that's the one you should focus on in that arena. If you're learning AI, yeah, learn Python. I mean, like that's what you should do. There's more opportunities there. So anyway, so my advice is just get on it. You've got to have a LinkedIn profile if you want to get a job. Everyone's looking there. You have to do that. And then just comment and be a nice person when you comment. And then comment in people that could hire you, especially if you're going after devs. Try to find managers that are working in that area, and then make yourself aware by commenting on their posts. Follow them, and then comment on all their posts and getting their mentions, and then see if you can make a friend. And typically people hire people they like.
Exactly, and connect with people too.
Connect and
make sure that you're connecting. Yeah,
connect with recruiters and those kind of people too that can actually find you work. So anyway, I hope that helps some guy.
Yep. Let me see.
Another thing too is what I would say while you're looking for another question is LinkedIn is a professional network. It's not Facebook. And one of the things that can get you slammed on LinkedIn is if you put out something that's Facebooky, which is like my neighbor didn't mow his lawn and you got a picture of their front yard, things like that, so like those aren't for LinkedIn. It's not. That's for Twitter and for Facebook. For LinkedIn, it's like, hey, let's talk about business type things. So it's a business social network. I do see that where people will say, hey, that's for Facebook. Yep.
Not a question, but Abhishek just says, hello, student, join the self-paced course. Fully chances last year. Thank you for such a generous price. It makes it possible for me to join. That's awesome. It's cool.
Nice.
We will see you in there. Thank you very much.
We'll see you in there very soon.
Let me see. Deepak wants to know, do big companies hire MERN stack developers?
I think they can. But here's the thing about MERN stack. It is Mongo, React. And so how many people are doing Mongo and React? It's not as many as doing SQL and React, I can tell you that. So I would still learn SQL over Mongo, and then I would learn React is being used, but you can also compare that to ASP.NET stack and just see in your area which one is using. They will hire you if that's what they're using to build their tools out or their applications. So if you're going to go after the MERN stack, build it out completely, follow it to the end, and then try to find as many MERN stack jobs as you can. But I do believe SQL, specifically in the US, is used way more than Mongo. Anyway, hope that helps.
Cool. Hey, look who's here. Brian's here. He's just quiet, look.
Yeah.
I bet his mom's watching.
You think his mom is watching?
I guarantee his mom's watching.
Hey, Brian's mom.
Hey, Brian's mom.
I always say hello to Brian's mom. She's our friend. We know her.
Definitely.
From Nepal.
Personal question. Come on, you guys know the answer to this one. You know the answer to this. Everybody here knows the answer to this. The tech capital of the world.
So I will say this. I was originally born in the state of Virginia. I moved here when I was a kid, and I've lived in Kernersville my entire life.
How old were you when you moved here?
All right, true story.
Yeah, okay, I don't know the story. This is the first time for me. Go ahead.
My parents were moving. They told us they were moving, and I was mad because Star Wars was coming out, the original, first New Hope. Yeah. And I was like, dude, we're gonna miss Star Wars. I won't be able to see it. And they're like, we're moving. And they're like, yeah, but like Star Wars is coming out, so I was mad. And then they took me to see Star Wars when we moved to North Carolina. So
there you
1977.
Go. There you go. So you got to see it anyway. So I like it.
I got to see it anyway, but I had to see it in North Carolina. So So anyway.
That's cool.
But we moved from Virginia to North Carolina. Family did, and I've lived here, went to high school here, and I've stayed here.
You've been in Kernersville ever since, right? Literally in Kernersville, right? Okay. Yeah.
I did a stint in Georgia, Atlanta in college, but like other than that,
I do remember that. Yeah, you came back.
Yeah,
I do remember you telling me that. Cool.
All right, that's my life story.
Here's an interesting question. Jandre, how likely are you to recruit from the student pool? Do you ever see any students that really stand out?
Every cohort. Yeah. And I've hired people from the student pool multiple times.
We don't hire people from every cohort. That's not something that we do. But
it's not realistic. Depends on what we got.
Yeah, there's always somebody that stands out in the cohort. There always is. It's one of those things, and it's normally the person who ends up helping the next person in the cohort, and that solidifies their learning, and it's win-win. Right. It's good stuff.
But I wouldn't take the boot camp to get a job at Cortex or Coder Foundry. I'd take the boot camp to get a job.
Yeah.
So, and whatever that job is doesn't really matter. But yes, we have hired people out of the student pool and put them on jobs, and
they've done all kinds of stuff, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff that we can't talk about, but I do like. I remember one working on the tablet thing was super cool. That was good. They got to work on the tablet project, which was super good. Yeah, they've worked on all kinds of different stuff and gone to all kinds of different companies.
Yeah,
all companies,
and they're all working in else places now. They've worked for me and left, and went on to other things and pursued other projects. So all over the place.
Yep.
Cool.
Let me see. What's our next question here?
All right, got a few left. If you want to get in the super chat us, we got one or two for the road here.
Yeah. So let's see. Sahaj wants to know, what's the future of Vue.js? Seems good. And how is it different from other JS frameworks?
Just read about the differences.
I don't think it really is different, is it?
Well, it's different. I mean, Vue has their opinion.
It's different, but the same, right? It's like why is this car different than this car?
Yeah. So like, I think that there's 3 front-end frameworks that are prominent: React, Angular, and Vue. Vue is probably less used than all of them, but I like Vue. I think it's cool. It's lighter weight than the other ones, and it doesn't. You can use just parts of it, which is kind of neat. But I think the future seems pretty good for Vue. We'll see. I mean, it just depends on industry adoption. I don't shape these things, but if you learn Vue, you definitely can learn React. So I think it's pretty cool.
Patricia has a great question here. So Patricia's looking to get his second job in 4 months from now, from being in office to remote. In a current position, a little under a year. How long do you think you should be in the first job? Great question.
So I think that's up to you. So let's say that you're working in a place and you want to interview after 6 months. I think you could start looking around for a year, from 6 months to a year. And it depends on what you're getting paid, what you're working on. Let's say that you're someone comes in and offers you more money than you're making, then you leave and you make more money. But let's say that you're working in your first job is something really cool and you like what you're doing, but you're not paid as much, you make that decision. But if you're only looking to make more money, then 1 year will probably give you enough to be able to parlay that into your second job where you can get a raise. So depends on what you're doing. Some people have only had one job and they stay in the same place for 15 years or 20 years. They just like it. That's where they're at.
Right. Depends on how much they're paying for that first job, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. It's like if you're underpaid, then you're probably gonna have to look at something else. But
it's not about pay. Sometimes it's about like what.
And it's not exactly. If you're comfortable with what you're doing, you like what you're doing, you don't want to move on, you don't have to. But the opportunities are definitely there for you too. And you'll find if you put yourself out there on LinkedIn as being available, you'll start to see stuff coming in for sure if you have experience. Definitely.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Okay, one last thing. Paul's here, look, pushing his React on us again. Like, that's funny.
So React is fine. I mean, like, I think there's more than one way to break into this industry. We never said that C# or ASP.NET's the only way. We just think it's a really, really good one. Yeah. And when you start really looking at what they are doing, Microsoft, you'll realize that they're probably going to they're putting the most time and effort and money into the development tool arena and making developer lives better. And they're putting it out there, man. And like, I'm just telling you, companies are going to adopt this stuff. And so you may be doing React on Web API and using C# and React. I think that is a very common use that you'll see for React going forward. But realize that React is only a templating framework. It's not a complete thing like ASP.NET. When you start looking at what's included in the box in ASP.NET and Blazor, you'll realize real quickly, oh, okay, I kind of see what they're doing.
Paul just likes to bait you into comparing C# to React.
And I don't think it's bad. No, I think it's cool. I mean, you got to do.
No, I think it's fun.
He is. I know. Yeah, you have to you have to bind something when you're doing your front ends in web. No matter what you do, you have to bind it some way. And you can do that with vanilla. You can do it with React. You can do it with Razor Pages and ASP.NET. You can do it with Angular. You can do it with Vue. There's a lot of ways to get there. But I think at the end of the day, knowing C# for Web API is going to benefit your career, however that front end's built, and whatever wins out. So,
okay. So, cool. Remember, course pricing, I've changed it. It is on the website now. So the pricing is up. Great deal, $229 for the year. We will go to $99 a month on launch. So we'll probably do that on whatever launch day that is, to be confirmed.
Yeah, to be confirmed. And once we solidify that launch date, we'll give you time to know. So if you didn't take advantage of it before, $229 will be in there. So. Yep.
Oh, hey, look, we got.
All right, last question. Here we got someone. He got in right under the wire here.
Right at the end here. Let me pull this up.
Okay. I think this was easy.
Thank you for the super chat, Julian. Says, I'm about to get a software development degree, accelerated program, but they have Java or C# track. Would you recommend? I'm in Seattle, by the way. Oh, you know the answer. I know the answer to this.
So you have to pick the C# track because the marketplace ... like it's Microsoft. I think that's the one you want to pick. The second thing that, and this is my opinion. Okay, this is totally my opinion. The Java in general, a lot of the development in Java was based around Android development. Since the kind of blow up between Oracle and Java and their fight over the JDK, several years ago, Android started pushing Kotlin as the preferred language. And what you're seeing now is Java adoption is lower than it was in the past. And so I think the dominant back end language for websites is going to be C#. That's my opinion. And if you think about it, it's an educated opinion because the amount of effort and money and time being put into building out C# as a language and also running on the platform ASP.NET, running inside of Azure. Who is backing that same effort in Java, and how successful are they in improving the tooling, improving the things for Java, improving the language, improving the JDK? In a weird way, though, Microsoft picked up support for JDK, and they're going to port that into the .NET. So we'll see what they do. I think they're just trying to get Java developers and then convert them over into C# is what they're trying to do. But in general, I think that when you look at Microsoft as a company and what they're doing, they're going to push C# out. But if I was living in Seattle, up there, I'm learning C#, man. Like you can, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing there's going to be more kind of potential competition there, but you also have a chance of going to work for Microsoft there too. So I will try and.
I know it's in Redmond, it's not Seattle, but it's
close enough.
It's close enough. So that's what I would do, Julian. And I don't think you can go wrong with either one. Learning how to code is great, but I think you have more opportunities with C#. So we'll see. All right, cool. Well, it's a good stream, Kevin. Good job, man. Here from the tech capital of the world. So thank you, Julian Quicks and Super Plays for the super chat.
Yes.
Remember to like our video. Give us that thumbs up, that like.
Yeah, if you could like it on your way out the door, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, you can like it out the way out your door. And I have got to go teach in class here. I'm going to go lecture up some stuff here.
We actually won't be back on Thursday. I forget. I'm actually going to be out Thursday and Friday this week. I'm going to the beach.
Yeah, I like it.
So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be nice.
Get
nice weather. So we won't be back Thursday. We'll be back next Tuesday.
next Tuesday. And all right, thanks a lot, guys. Good luck and keep coding. We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you guys later.